The S25 Ultra is flawed, but even geniuses have their shortcomings. Let's go. If you were to judge the S25 Ultra based off the extremely negative welcoming that it received by the tech community, no one should be using this phone. But this phone needs to be reviewed after months of usage, not just a couple weeks in a studio. Reason why? Because you need to understand its deficiencies, its flaws, its shortcomings, but also its very impressive strengths that this possesses. Too many reviews descend into comparisons. And if you want to make a comparison video, make a comparison video. A review needs to look at the device as opposed to comparing this to what else is out there. For me, it really seems strange that the hate for this phone intensified this year, especially last year when the S24 Ultra wasn't that much of a jump, especially in design, over the S23 Ultra. This has changed more than the last two generations combined. Design is different, new ultra-wide camera, thinnest bezels, the fastest chip currently available on a smartphone, but people will only read a spec sheet. They'll see only 5,000 milliamp hour battery and 45 watt fast charging. After they see that, the phone's a write-off. This is a phone that you need to pick up and use every single day to truly understand its benefits. So let's talk about using it. The design, the all-new Ultra design, is incredibly nice to hold. I do have to double take sometimes when I pick this up, just because of how light this feels compared to the performance that it offers. Just feels so much lighter for me than anything else I've kind of used in this size or performance bracket of phone before. The slightly rounded corners I actually like, and I like the contrast to the flat sides. It's a very nice in-hand experience, which is important because to use a phone, you have to hold it. Some liaisons, though, will tell me it's not worth talking about. Undoubtedly, though, the most important part of this whole design and display conversation is the display. Everything about the front of the device is something you will find on a flagship phone from 2025. Thin bezels, big OLED display, adaptive refresh rate, but this phone has something that no other phones do, the anti-reflective coating. This changes it because not only does it reflect and bounce light away, it also improves the contrast and the color accuracy on the screen. Blacks appear deeper. The contrast is stronger between colors on the screen because it's not showcasing reflections, it's absorbing them. It transforms the entire experience of using it. And again, displays are vitally important. Everything, and I mean everything you do on your phone is done through the screen. Take pictures and video, browse the internet, get work done. It's all done from this. And then to complement the amazing display quality, watching content is incredible thanks to the speaker output. It's amazing sound that comes from a phone, and I genuinely don't know how they've improved it this much. Take a listen.
Starting with design, and as far as the Galaxy S25 and S25 Plus are concerned, these are both very similar, in fact, virtually identical.
And if you were to not look at the spec sheet of the display and just look at the display itself, you would never question it. You would say how amazing of a display it is, and unquestionably the best display on a smartphone to date. Cameras are next. As usual, output is not going to be my focus. It's 2025. A phone that costs $1,300 US is going to give you an exceptional level of output across the board. I don't care which phone you buy at that price, its output is going to be great. You can easily see that with the photos I'm putting up here because you're not comparing them to something else. You're not standing there pixel peeping against another $1,300 phone and saying, oh, that red's a different shade. You're not doing that. You're just looking at the screen, admiring the photo you've taken. What's important here is that the cameras offer flexibility in use, both in hardware and in software. The 5x camera on here is so versatile. When you take photos, especially of people, it provides this exceptional portrait effect without even using portrait mode, as you can see. And then for videos, it lets you capture amazing action shots. For me, my wife uses an S25 Ultra, and she loves the 5x camera to record my son's football games because she can stand on the sideline and get in close and capture the sort of the heartbeat of the action to make it feel like you're on the field with them. And it's cinematic and it just provides really good sort of quality and output. Or I used it at the weekend at a theme park. The kids were on a banana ride at SeaWorld together, and I was able to, again, capture the emotions of their face in clear 4K detail. And because it's got 50 megapixels, that 5x can go into 10 without sacrificing any real noticeable drop in quality. Did you also see the goal from my son? One day Newcastle player, let's go. Because that hardware flexibility from ultra wide 1, 2, 3x, 5x, 10x all with crisp detail and quality, is amazing to have in my pocket. But hardware doesn't really tell the whole story. It never does, especially with Samsung phones. Software and camera modes completes the picture. One UI 7, firstly, brought with it a brand new camera interface, one that is so easy to operate, especially one-handed, and especially with the size of this phone, it's very welcomed. But more important than, I guess, the layout is the modes that come with it. And for this video, I'm going to stick to the ones that I use every single day. If you want to check out all of the camera modes that this thing does, I've got a full video dedicated to that. Go and check that out. The smart composition guide and the shot suggestions are so helpful in keeping the photo straight. Without them, a lot of people will tend to hold the phone crooked because to the naked eye, you're not really sure. But having those lines and the actual AI sort of help you, it's very beneficial, and you just turn it on the settings and away you go. Single take. I don't know how many times I've talked about single take on here. I'd love for someone to let me know. It's a lot, I will say, because it is my favorite camera mode of all time. Just letting the kids be kids. And with the S25 series, what they've done is add a pre-recording function. So if you maybe missed the start of the moment, it already captured it for you. And then you hit record, and then it captures another 15 seconds. But you can also then add in extra with an extra shutter button that's been included to add to the album of single take output that it provides. Again, it's just so useful and so beneficial to have this because you don't have to think. Let single take do it for you. And you also don't have to position your kids. You just let them be kids and away you go. Dual recording. Again, another one I've sort of waxed lyrical about over the last 12 months. So at the Dolphin Show at SeaWorld on the other day, and the ability to capture both the close-up moment of the dolphins, but also the wide-angle shot, meant that you can sort of preserve both details. Or if you're at football, again, it's just another really beneficial element of capturing both moments. The wider perspective to capture the whole game, but then the close-up action shot. Awesome. It's such a nice thing to have in so many different moments. You can just know where this feature will come in handy and it's there waiting for you. But the one that's kind of transformed my usage of video recording is log video. As a creator, it's ensured for me that every bit of content I capture with my phone is captured with the most amount of dynamic range and detail possible. And then I can shape it to be what I need it to, either via software on the computer or through Samsung's very handy color correction toggle that's in the Gallery app. And because the toggle exists in that top right corner, if I don't want to use it, it's very simple to just turn it off. Like I said, I could mention way more, but you can go and watch that camera mode video and plenty of the other camera videos I've done on the channel. The other discussion here for me is both performance driven and also software driven. I would say that One UI 7 and then also the performance of this phone has been criminally underrated from the higher tech community. I would say the people that are using this phone day to day, they're appreciating what it's offering. I have never used a Samsung phone that has operated as smoothly and as efficiently as this. And what's crazy for me is that One UI 7 isn't really even finished. I did a video on One UI 7 and the differences in the beta. And when you look at the betas on the S24 and the Flip, there's features on there that aren't on here yet. So I'm excited when everything kind of levels out and the beta's finished, everything to get all of those amazing new features. And this will just be very complete. I love the little touches that One UI 7 gives from a software perspective. The now bar is so great to have. I literally use this every single day. If it's not the now brief, which I check in the morning to check my previous night's sleep and energy score and any upcoming appointments for the day and the weather as well, it's also used for sports, keeping a track of my favorite sports teams, which I've tracked in my Google account, which then links to my now bar. The other aspect of One UI 7 and the software that I use quite frequently is Galaxy AI. You might not believe me, I don't use all of it. I use a handful of features very regularly. For example, especially the removal tool, the generative edit, it has become so good on the Galaxy S25 series that it makes the previous generation's Object Eraser and last year's generative edit look awful by comparison. And they're not even that bad. When I take photos now of like the kids, I don't even wait for people to move out of the way. I just take the photo and then I know that generative edit can remove them later, and flawlessly, I might add. Here's a real world example that I used just on Friday. I was shopping for bathroom vanities with my wife. We went into the showroom and I wanted to take a photo of some of the ones that I wanted to remember. One of them had a mirror cabinet, and you could see me taking the photo and my wife in it as well. Very simply, used generative edit, selected myself and my wife and removed it, and it was like I was never there. That is just so beneficial to have that level of, I guess, removal that you don't even have to worry about your photos you're taking anymore. While we're talking about erasing things, the other one I use frequently is audio eraser. My son likes making football videos out in the backyard, and he kind of likes them to be instructional. Straps a microphone to his chest and likes sort of talking and guiding through the training session that he's doing. But in the environment I'm in, it's very noisy. There's a lot of environmental noise, construction going on. So removing through audio eraser on my phone just sort of cuts all that back and just helps isolate his voice. And it's all processed on here. And you couple that with maybe Samsung Dex, you've got this incredible package for performance. I might dabble in other parts of Galaxy AI from time to time. In Samsung Notes, you can make things sort of formatted so it looks neat and tidy if you need to send a brief off to someone. But mostly those are the two that I sort of use all the time. As I mentioned earlier, this is the smoothest Samsung experience I've ever had. Largely in parts of One UI 7, but also in the fact that the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy has been fine-tuned for One UI 7. It's smooth when it needs to for the OS to run, like bringing down the notification or the new quick panel, but then it's powerful when it needs to be when you're running Samsung Dex and exporting video. The only real arguments you can make against the S25 Ultra are what it doesn't have. Bigger battery being one. I do understand why though. I had this discussion the other week on the podcast with David and Alex, -16, you can check it out below, about why there is certain limits on battery sizes when you're shipping globally. To put sort of product on a plane and allow it to be shipped quickly, especially at a global scale, there is a limit to battery capacity. If you exceed that limit, you then have to ship your phones by boat, which kind of then means that if you announce a phone in January, you won't be able to launch it until April. That can be a big problem. Imagine if you created all this big hype around this new shiny thing, and then you don't launch it for 3 months because you need time for those boats to get around the globe and drop stock off. But then if they sell out, you then need to wait another few months for more stock to arrive. It's a very problematic sort of logistics thing. And when you are shipping phones on the scale that Samsung are, and Apple for that matter, and even Google, it can become problematic. That's not making excuses, that's just an explanation. So if you can sort of prioritize design, which they have done, and then use more powerful processors that are more efficient alongside that, then that's what's happened. The other thing is to do with the S Pen. Not having the Bluetooth is a mistake, hands down. Even if it's a less than 1% used feature, you got to put it in there because knowing it was there was the comforting aspect of it, not necessarily using it all the time. Myself personally, I barely used it. I would say for the S24 Ultra, I maybe used it on a handful of occasions throughout the 12 months I had it. But on previous phones, S23 Ultra and going back even further, you used it every time you needed it. And that's what was so great about having it. But even without that Bluetooth function, the S Pen is still useful. It's still the best sort of pen that's available on a phone today. In fact, it's likely one of the only ones. I know people would like to talk about the Motorola one, but I wouldn't. I've made it a habit this year to use the S Pen for when I'm coaching my son's football team. On a Friday, I like to sit down, write out the team selection, and sort of put the formation up on my Samsung Notes using the S Pen. Or whenever my wife and I are discussing house renovations or room planning, again, it's incredibly useful to list things out and use it to draw to sort of get a visual of what we're talking about. The pen on its own actually has a much higher usage rate than the Bluetooth function did, but more importantly, the actual intention to use the S Pen is higher again. So I think it's safe. Based off that, I don't think it's going anywhere. But then the other facet to this whole entire discussion is ecosystem. And again, this is one of those things where I have actually already created a whole video talking about this ecosystem and how it actually works. The bottom line here is even with all its flaws, only a 5,000 mAh battery with 45-watt charging, no 10-bit display, no high PWM, no Bluetooth S Pen features. What it does have and what it can do is better than any other phone and more capable than any other phone you can find today. A slab phone, that is. Because answer me this, what other phone right now can you get an anti-reflective coating, a set of versatile cameras that actually offer you insane camera mode flexibility, the most powerful chip on a smartphone right now, with the best AI offering on any brand of phone and still include the S Pen and Samsung DeX alongside all of the other Samsung ecosystem features. And don't even forget to mention Good Lock and customizing your entire phone in any way you want to. The answer is none. Other phones might have one or a few of those things grouped together, but none of them have all of them in one package. And that's what the Ultra is. Let me know if you've enjoyed this review. Let me know if you've used the S25 Ultra and let me know what you think of it below, covering everything that I've said. I've had this phone for February. I've had this phone for 3 months. And I know it's not been out for 3 months, but I've had it for 3 months. I just have. Here's the proof. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. You.